For the last couple of years, we've all watched AI just explode, right? It's been moving at a breakneck pace. But it feels like we're on the edge of the next big thing, something that promises to make our current AI look like, I don't know, a pocket calculator. We're talking about AI agents. This could be the next major revolution in artificial intelligence, and it might just change everything about how we use technology. So let's dive in and figure out what that really means. So, what's the big deal? How is an agent different from, say, the chatbots we're all used to? Well, this quote from Anthropic, it really gets to the heart of it. A typical AI, it follows a script. It's on a predetermined path. But an agent, well, an agent is a director of its own movie. It decides on the fly which tools to use, which steps to take, all to get to a goal. It's in charge. Okay, let's break this down a bit more. The magic words here are autonomous, decisions, and actions. This isn't just about spitting back an answer to a question. It's about an AI that can actually look at a situation, reason about what to do next, cook up a plan, and then go and do it. Think about it like your digital assistant suddenly getting a mind of its own. And these are really the superpowers we're talking about. They're autonomous, so they can adapt to new information as it comes in. They're goal-oriented, meaning they can take a big, complex task and just break it down into smaller, manageable steps. They use advanced reasoning to make judgments, and this is a big one, they can have a memory, learning from everything they do to get smarter over time. The potential here is just massive. Okay, so with all this incredible, game-changing potential, you'd think these agents would be everywhere by now, right? I mean, running our businesses, organizing our lives, automating the boring stuff. So the big question is, are they? Is this happening yet? Well, according to Gartner, the answer is a huge, resounding no. Less than 5%. Think about that for a second. There is this enormous gap between the hype and what's actually happening in the real world. Despite all the promise, true autonomous agents are barely making a ripple in the enterprise. And that's where the story gets really interesting. And that story really starts with this critical difference: AI agents versus what we call AI workflows. See, workflows are what really run the show in AI today. Think of a workflow like a factory assembly line. It's super predictable, incredibly reliable, and it's perfect for doing the same thing over and over again perfectly. An agent? It's more like a brilliant but totally unpredictable intern. It can come up with creative solutions to tricky problems, but you're never quite sure how it's going to get the job done. And you can see this playing out in the real world. You've got giants like Uber, Airbnb, and Booking.com. They've literally built their empires on the back of predictable AI workflows, handling thousands of models for things like ETAs and recommendations. But then you see a company like LinkedIn, and they're starting to experiment with an agent for a very specific, complex task: helping out recruiters. It shows you the split perfectly. Use workflows when you need scale and reliability, and you're starting to see agents pop up for these niche, reasoning-heavy jobs. So this really brings us to the core of the problem, right? If these agents are so powerful, why are companies so hesitant to just let them loose? What's the holdup? Well, it turns out the risks are very, very real. Agents can hallucinate, just make stuff up. They can leak private data or get tricked by security attacks. Sometimes they just can't figure out how to use a tool correctly, or they grab the wrong piece of information. For any business, just one of those failures could be a total disaster, which, yeah, that explains why everyone's being so cautious. But beyond all those operational risks, there's an even more fundamental problem: a core limitation that stops an agent from being a truly intelligent partner. And it's shockingly simple: they forget. You see, the large language models that power these agents, they have a limited memory. It's called a context window. And once your conversation gets longer than that window, the AI literally starts forgetting what you talked about earlier. It leads to these super frustrating inconsistencies, and it makes any real, long-term personalization basically impossible. I mean, how can an agent really help you if it can't even remember the last thing you said? Okay, but here's where the story takes a turn and gets really exciting. These problems? People are actively solving them. And researchers have figured out that building a great enterprise-ready agent isn't about finding one single magic bullet. It's a two-pronged attack. You need to establish control over the agent's behavior, and you need to dramatically boost its core capability. So let's start with control. This is all about taming that unpredictability. It's about making agents safe, reliable, and something you can actually trust. It's about building the guardrails you need to let them run on their own without causing total chaos. So how do you actually do that? Well, you built something called a control plane. Think of it as a system that wraps around the agent, keeping an eye on it. First, you set up guardrails to check everything the agent says and does, making sure it's safe and accurate. Then, you log everything, creating a detailed audit trail. You monitor key metrics so you can spot problems before they get serious. And when something does go wrong, you use those logs to find the root cause and fix it fast. It's all about building in observability from day one.
All right, now for the second piece of the puzzle, capability. Because let's be honest, a safe agent that isn't very smart isn't very useful. We have to solve that fundamental memory problem if we're ever going to unlock their true potential.
And this is where things get really, really clever. To fix the AI's memory, researchers are actually borrowing ideas from how our computer operating systems manage memory. They're building something called a memory OS for AI. It creates this whole hierarchy: short-term, mid-term, and long-term storage. This lets the agent remember recent details, hang on to important topics from the conversation, and store core facts about you over the long haul. And this isn't just some cool theory. The data shows it actually works. This chart, it shows the performance boost an agent gets when it's equipped with Memory OS, especially in long, complex conversations. Just look at the difference here. The agent with memory is just dramatically better at staying on topic and being accurate over time. It's a huge leap. So let's bring this all back. We started with this big conflict, right? The brilliant but unpredictable agent versus the reliable but rigid workflow. After seeing these new solutions for control and capability, where does that leave us? Which road is AI going to take? Well, the answer is it's not a choice. The future isn't about picking agents or workflows. It's about agents and workflows. The most powerful AI systems are going to be a blend, combining the dynamic, autonomous thinking of agents with the rock-solid reliability and control you get from a structured pipeline. It's a hybrid that gives us the best of both worlds. So as we look to the future, the whole conversation is starting to shift. It's not really a question of if AI agents will become a huge part of our lives and our work anymore. With solutions for control and capability already emerging, that feels, well, pretty much inevitable. The real question, the one we all have to figure out now, is how. How are we going to build the robust systems of trust, safety, and control we need to confidently unleash their incredible, revolutionary potential?